Listen, I think scripts are some of the most important things in the industry, especially when you're trying to learn your trade craft and be a professional in real estate. It's the difference between converting somebody and not converting, right? Because I think scripts are proven. And if you're not good at your scripts or you're not practicing scripts, it's an uphill battle. I mean, let's go to Brian Moses. He's the expert on this. He's like the script master. If there was an Obi-Wan Kenobi of scripts, it would be Brian Moses. So go ahead.
So I don't have any scripts in front of me. I've memorized them. Scripts, no one likes scripts. Nobody wants to
Could
sound
you send me a quick text of all the things that you?
David, you are.
Dave, you're not on mute.
Oh, he did.
No one likes to sound like a salesperson. So scripts are a great tool to memorize. You don't want to read them. You need to internalize them and make them your own. A couple of good ones, you know, the commission scripts are always a big one. I'm not a big fan of I won't mention the trainer, but we're all familiar with him. And seller says, hey, will you lower your commission? No. Do you have any other questions? That doesn't work very well, right? You know, I used to try that and it probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'll handle the seller commission objection. There's two ways that it comes across frequently. So-and-so will do it for less. I like to say, well, I know that person or I know that company. They're a good company. They're a good person. Never disparage anybody. But knowing how little they do in comparison to what I do to market your home, I'm actually shocked they charge that much. Did you ask them if they would go lower? And that's kind of like an uppercut. And then they go, well, you know, your fees, it's a lot of money. I say, I understand we can cut our fee, but if we cut our fee, we've got to cut back on our marketing. We don't know where the buyer's going to come from your home. I like to leave no stone unturned. Price is a function of supply and demand, Mr. Seller. So which of our marketing pieces do you want us to cut out? Do you want us to cut out Zillow? Do you want to cut out Realtor.com? Do you want us to cut out YouTube? You know, thousands of people are seeing these properties. So let me ask you, do you really want the lowest fee or do you want the highest price? Now, they usually say, well, the highest price. But if they say, well, I'd like both, I understand, I would too, but you can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. We can give you the lowest fee and you'll get the lowest price, or we can charge you a fee that covers everything and get you the highest price. I have a suggestion. Why don't we leave my fee where it is and let me earn it? Let me get you the top of the market. Is that fair? So I've not had any challenges with commissions, you know, that I can remember after studying and memorizing those dialogues. They don't become an issue. If you have to, I don't want you to lose the listing, right? So if you, while you're learning these skills and you're stuttering a little bit, you're caught, you know, deer-eyed, if you have to, go down in increments. Never go down a full percent, right? Hey, your house is $1 million. What I'll do is, instead of, I'll save you $5,000. I'll go down 0.5%. That's, and monetize it. That's $5,000 savings for you. Then you don't have to go down the whole way. So the commission objection's a big one. I'll let somebody else go, but that was my, you know, one that I wanted to offer today. And I have a bunch of others, so if we have time, I'll be happy to share some more.
I thought that was great, Brian. You know, the only thing that I change in that, you guys, I don't talk commissions, I talk professional fees. We're all professionals. And I think it's your vernacular and the words that you use. But I do like how he turns that. So what do you want to take off the table here in order to try to get you the highest price or to get the lowest professional fee, you know? You know, I had that happen recently to me, and they said, well, we're going to go with this guy. He's only going to charge 1%. And I said, well, you know, that's what he values himself at. So how are you going to get the highest price when somebody values himself so little in this market? That, you know, you can't have it both ways. They can't be valuing that their professional skills this small and get something so large or so big. I think that's another way to kind of turn them. The other thing that I always do is I say, look, we're on the same team. You know, the goal is to get you the most amount of time in the shortest period of time, or the most amount of money in the shortest period of time with the least amount of headaches. And that's what we do. Look at the dogs are barking right now, right? Because things are happening. But, you know, I always say to people, look, if it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, I'm a business guy. I'm a professional guy. I'm on your team. Let's just have a discussion. We'll figure it out. Does that work for you? Because they're just looking for some kind of, not just compensation, you guys. They're looking for some kind of just give. Somebody, they want you to give a little or give something. You know, if you just say no, next question, they're like, he's not flexible. Is that how he's going to be with the people looking at my house? Oh, well, we want to offer him this. No, next question, get out of the house. It's not going to work. You know, this is an emotional business from all aspects. Understand the emotional side of it and diffuse it. All right, let's go over to Dennis. Look he looks like he's in church or something. He's got lights behind him. It's like the holy grail of scripts.
That does look
Dennis, give us some scripts that you've used recently. Talk to us on, I think you've gotten 4 luxury listings in the last 5 months, and you've been using a certain campaign with a certain script. Let's go over that.
Well, the campaign is the sell without listing, right? That's the campaign that works really well. Brian came up with. I believe you came up with that, Brian. It's a fantastic USP. And the last 2 people that responded to that, one lady was in hospice, unfortunately, and you know, they didn't want any attention to the house, so they called on that because, you know, people want a private sale, right? Especially the more higher end it is, the more private they want to be for whatever reason. So that worked really well. But I want to talk about, and Brian knows this script really well, is the seller callback script. So when somebody calls on a seller evaluation kind of call. So, you know, everybody does a website. If you're not doing website, you know, leads for evaluations, you should be doing that. So when you get one of those leads, let's say, Pete, you sign up, all right? I'll role play with you. You want to do that? You're on mute.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So you'll sign up on my website. It's californiahomevalues.com. You'll sign up for a home evaluation. It's based as a Zestimate. That's really what it is. And then I call you back. So I don't, but my ISA does. So I'll call you. I'll do ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, Pete, it's Dennis from eXp Realty. The reason I'm calling you is you recently went onto our website and looked for a home evaluation on your property at 123 Elm Street. Did you receive that okay?
Oh, yeah. I was on there. I don't know if I received it or not, but.
Oh,
yeah.
no problem. If you didn't get it, I'll take a look at it. I can resend it to you. But Pete, let me ask you, are you considering moving in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, we were kicking it around because the prices are pretty high here in Southern California. We don't think it's going to last.
Gotcha. And if you were to move, where would you be moving to?
I was going to move to Idaho because, you know, this guy, Brian Yarber, is up towards Idaho, Montana, and he fly fishes all the time. He's a friend of mine.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, there's a couple things that you can do ahead of time, Pete, that could potentially get you tens of thousands of dollars more for your home. And they're free, and if not free, completely very inexpensive. When would be a good time for me to swing by your house? And maybe I could just walk through there with you and just give you a couple tips that, you know, ahead of time, maybe you can start working on and get maybe, you know, 10 to 50,000 more for your house. And it might only cost you a couple thousand to get there. Would that be okay?
Yeah, it sounds great. We still haven't really decided if we're going to sell yet or not. So I don't want to waste your time.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's no problem. So what's the time frame that you guys are kind of thinking of going?
I don't know. I got to talk to the boss and see if she's willing to move up to the wilderness up there. I know she likes potatoes. Idaho has a lot of potatoes, so we'll see what happens there. But you know, that's what we're thinking. It might be 3 months. It might be 6 months. We're not sure.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. Well, that sounds great, Pete. So why don't I stay in touch with you? If that's okay. Maybe I can give you some tips maybe in a month or so.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
So let's do that again. I'm a little rusty because I don't make these calls anymore, but like Brian was talking about, it's called, what Brian taught me was conscious, Brian, what is it? Conscious competence, where you memorize the scripts for so long that you just spit it out. It comes out naturally, right? Instead of reading it.
Unconscious confidence. Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing, Dennis, like, and look, we're all agents, you guys, so we know how to trigger and give people a hard time. Most people in public aren't going to be that difficult, but Another way to really get their guard down is you could say a couple of things. You could say, listen, just between you and I off the record, when do you guys think you're seriously going to be ready to go or ready to sell? And they'll tell you, or say, you know something, hey, Dennis, I don't know if this works for you, but I'm out your way tomorrow. I would love just to stop by for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll bring this with me so you guys have it in writing. I'll introduce myself real fast. Then it gives me a look at your house. So then I'm familiar with it. So when you're ready to go, I'll be ready to go. How does that sound?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Dennis, question for you. So if you did have something in real life like that, that would tell you, you know, yeah, we're almost definite, we're not going to move for 3-4 months minimum. Would you still try to get in sooner rather than later, or would you wait a month?
No, so I was taught by Brian and other coaches that, you know, whatever time frame they tell you, Randy, let's say you say, oh, we're not moving for 2 years, as a safeguard, just cut it in half. If they say 3 months, a month and a half. If they say 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, cut it down to 6 months. Just, and it's usually, you can never time it perfectly, right? Somebody might say a year and they sell in 2 months, right? But you know, just that as a rule of thumb, cut it in half is usually a good safeguard as an overall method. But if somebody said if we did that script again and somebody said, hey, you know, no, we're not moving, you know, I'd be like, okay, great. Well, let me ask you, Pete, if you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
I'd be moving out of the area. I'm going to Idaho.
Oh, okay. So when do you think that might be?
You know, we're hoping to get there by the end of the year.
Gotcha. Okay. So, you know, most people are going to say, they're going to put their shields up. They're going to be like, no, we're not thinking of moving. We're just curious. Right.
Yeah.
So then you hit them up with that. Hey, if you were to move, you know, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area? So that's always a good one to catch them. Sometimes you can, you know, sometimes they'll be like, well, I don't know. We'd move out of state to go be with our kids because we have grandkids in South Carolina now, whatever it might be. And then you could say, well, when do you think that might be? Right. So that's my seller script, basically. Brian, you could probably interject on that a little bit. I know you're not a super fan of that one anymore, but it's worked for years for us.
So I don't like to qualify the prospect. The goal is to get the appointment, and I've adjusted over the years. If where there's smoke, there's fire, and they might tell you that they're 3 months out, and then you see them listing their house next week because somebody else got in the door and did a presentation and showed them the values, and they moved quicker. You can influence people in person. So I coach people to go for the appointment. And if they say, we're not ready yet, great. When you are ready, is getting the most amount of money important to you? They say yes. Well, the best time to do that is before your home hits the market. And if you'd like, I'd be happy to come by, make some inexpensive recommendations to help you maximize your home's value. So I make that offer. I can also point out things that you might be thinking of doing that you don't have to or shouldn't do, that'll save you time and money, and give you a breakdown of what all the expenses are associated with selling a home so that when you do sell, you'll know what you have left for whatever your future plans may be. It sounds like you're not in a rush, Pete. So we don't need to get together today or tomorrow. How's next week look?
Next week sounds good. Can you just text me or call me before you come over?
I can, but my schedule fills up quickly. What day do you want to do it? And I'll just text you that I'm on my way.
How about Monday at 10?
I'll make that work.
All right, cool. I look forward to seeing you. How long will it take, Brian?
I'll go through your property with you, depending on how many questions I'd planned for an hour, it'll probably be less.
Okay. All right, cool. That's good. All right, I'll see you then.
Hey,
Cameron, what did you want to add, Cam?
Brian, that was such a great close. That was a no pressure close. It's whenever you're available, let me know and I can fit you in my schedule. I think everyone, all 76 people really need to go back when you see this video again and listen to that close, because that is my schedule opens, but it's filling up fast. So you give urgency, and then it's a no pressure close of, you let me know what time and I'll text you on my way over. But that doesn't mean anything. Literally, you just ask them, what time do you want to schedule it? But by you doing that, you really, you pinpoint what's important, that you're busy and that you're ready to help them. I absolutely love that, Brian.
Thanks, Kim. I want to just add that it's about getting the appointment. No one's going to let you come to their home if they're not somewhat motivated or serious. I'll go into the qualifying questions after I book the appointment, but I'm going for the appointment. And it's never about listing the home. It's about adding value. I can help you make recommendations with the, share with you market updates, what other properties in the neighborhood have sold for. Would that be useful? If they say yes, it's like you're looking for a car and somebody says, hey, I've got 5 new cars that just came off the truck that match what you're looking for. You want to come by and take a look at them? Well, yeah, I'd like to take a look at them. I'm probably in the market for a car. So you just want to go for the appointment. And if they're not motivated, it'll come out that they're not motivated. They won't respond favorably to that offer. They'll be like, we're just not ready yet. And then, as Dennis said, cut the time in half. So I hope that helped.
No, I thought that was great. I like that close. Let's go over to Dave Lawson, the luxury expert out of Park City. He's been rambling. He's ready to go. Dave was getting scripts ready. Go ahead, Dave. Dave's got to unmute. He's getting ramped up. I see negotiating the listing. He's got a whole PowerPoint presentation for you guys, but we have to unmute him.
Dave, you got to unmute, buddy.
Phase 4, negotiating the listing. I like that.
Come on, David, you got this. We believe in you.
Let's go, Dave.
I don't know if he can he
Hit
even
the
hear.
dang button.
He might not hear us, or oh, he does.
He can hear us. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Let's go, Dave. Let's go.
I mean,
Dave.
it seems like he's deep into his topic.
He was on a call earlier and he might have put the volume down on his computer.
All right, we might have to come back to.
Yeah, we'll come back to Dave. Let's move over to Lurchy over in Philly. Lurch, what have you been using for scripts, and what scripts have been really beneficial to your production?
Brian had a huge one when he started about, go ahead, Dave. You want to go back to
Oh,
it?
Dave's jumping in. We'll come back to Lurch. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so in the training that I do, how I teach agents not how to take 100 listings a year, I show you what I do to actually do it. So I'm going to share with you, can you see this phase 4 negotiating?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. So I'm going to just share with you because it's all, I mean, when I negotiate every commission, who wants to negotiate up from 6 instead of down from 6? I'm going to show you how I do it. So this is a secret that I came up in my listing presentation, and it helps us avoid really helps us avoid the will you cut your commission, because once you see the presentation, my whole presentation here, you'll understand. But I use this document over here that's called Premium, Premium Plus, and Elite. So I'm going to say, Pete, so you got this beautiful house, and I actually negotiate, or I let you pick how much you want to pay me. So, but let's put money aside here. Would you like me to do all of the things in Premium, Premium Plus, or Elite? Now it's hard to see, but this is the main stuff. This is a lot of extra stuff. This is like Mamma Mia. And you know what? Only 100% of the people say Pete does?
Elite.
I'll take Elite, right? And
The best of the best.
now this is on page 15 of my listing presentation. And the reason I do this is I want the client to see everything I'm doing in our marketplace to sell their house before we actually talk about commissions. Usually by the time we get to this page, I can tell you commission is not an issue, because our professional fees are based on doing professional work, and that's what we do, and they already see it. But as we know, some people will always ask us, Pete, will you lower your commission? And when this happens, I turn to this page, or I explain to them what Premium, Premium Plus, and Elite is. Then if they ask me to cut the commission, I tell them, well, I'm going to give you, so if I know I want the listing, I know they're motivated, the price is in the realm it's going to sell, then I have this conversation with you. So Pete, this is Premium is 6%. Premium plus 6.5%. Elite is 7%. Now, I understand you want the elite, right?
Yes, I do. But Dave, before we go further, other people have told me their commissions are only 4 or 5%.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you're right. Those people list property. I sell them. Do you want a listing or do you want a price sold?
Well, I want to get the best possible price. I want to get sold and move to Idaho.
Okay, well, what they haven't seen is, so one of the things I'm going through is I say, Pete, I want you to explain I want to explain something to you. One of the reasons that you want to hire me is I've taken all the listings and you can't see me. I spread my arms as wide as I can go. Say, I compared for 6 years, all of the listings that are on the MLS for 6 years, compared it to the Lawson team listings sold, and my average home was 2.24% more money sold, put in your pocket. Now, the average home in Park City is $1,412,500, right? So what that means is if it's an average sale, I'm going to put $33,880 in your pocket. Now, that's not, I mean, last time I checked, $33,880 is a lot of money. But see, they've already heard this. So they've already had, well, see, notice I know my script, right? So then I go, well, I tell you what I'll do. You know, this property, it's 2.5 million, Pete. I tell you what I'm going to do. What if I gave you this elite and I didn't charge you 7, I just charge you 6? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, I'm going to tell you, if I do this, you have to do 3 things for me. Number 1, first of all, I'm not in the business of reducing. You obviously see that we're light years ahead of the competition in what we offer, but I'm going to offer this to you, but you have to promise me you will not tell anybody I've reduced the commission. Do you agree?
Okay.
Great. Second of all, after I do a fabulous job to market and sell your property, you have to promise me that you're going to give me a 5-star review on Zillow and the best review you've ever written to anybody on Google. We got a deal?
You have a deal. It's great.
And then number 3, obviously, I'm going to want you to refer all your friends and family, people in your church group, neighborhood, etc. I want you to refer those people to me, because the thing is, I'm going to be giving you a reduction. If your house is $2.5 million, I'm like giving you $25,000. So if I give you $25,000, will you do this for me?
Yeah, that sounds great.
And if he says yes, Pete, I reach my hand out, shake my hand, Pete. Right? Okay, we got a deal. And then I say, okay, we got a deal. And then here, I want to show you something else. Okay, I always say never give up anything without getting something in return, right? And so in the negotiating class that I teach, I always say, you know, negotiating 101, what is it, right? Never give up anything without getting something in return. So I use this in the list. I listed the highest price sale ever of a home sold in Salt Lake City was $11 million. I presented this to the seller and she said to me, well, and I could tell that she was on board. She recognized how good, you know, that family, they started Amsco Windows, and like, you know, they have an 18,000 square foot
Guest house?
no, the house was 27,000 square feet, but no, they had an acre and a half under roof where they make the windows. I mean, this is a massive company, but that doesn't never mind. So I presented this to her, and you know what she said? It was an expired listing, and a blue brand who had it listed said, well, they'll do it for 6%. Learn this script, guys. Pete, they listed your property. I'm going to sell it. Man, magic words, right? And then she said to me, well, I just, man, 7%. And so instead of just caving, I said, well, why don't I do this? How about I give you 7%? Instead of 7, we'll split the difference, 6.5. She said, great. I made over 50,000 additional dollars in commission between 6 and 6.5, right? So that's that. And then the last thing I'm going to do, and some of you have heard this before, and somebody said, but I want you guys to know absolutely positively, you have to understand that you never, ever, 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 ever negotiate commissions over the phone before you get in front of a seller. If they ask me before I'm face to face with them what I charge if I negotiate my commission, I'll say, Pete, I'm so glad you brought that up. As you know, commissions are completely negotiable, and that'll be one of the first things we talk about when I meet you tomorrow at 4. And then that usually gets you in the door. Then if they really push me any further, then what I do is I say, you know what? I actually have, Pete, I have 3 different commission structures. And when I show them to you tomorrow, you're going to get to pick which one you want. So gang, you got to understand negotiating your commissions before you meet them. And before they understand your true value and everything that you're going to do for them is an absolute losing proposition. Now, I hate to admit it, and I think I heard somebody else said, what I don't want you guys to do is do what I do. See, I lost out on way too many great listings because I was not willing to negotiate my commissions because I truly believe I'm worth every penny that I earn. The problem is you can't get a listing if you can't get in front of the client. Therefore, learn from my mistakes and never negotiate commissions. So anyway, that's
Dave, will you share that your plan with everybody? Is there a way you can drop that in the chat? Everybody's asking.
You know what? I'll run and I'll get Mike or Drew to help me do this before the end of the class. And then there's another thing, another script I use really good. If somebody says, I want to reduce your commission, and say the property is $2.5 million, right? Or let's say it's $1 million, right? If I said to you, Pete, well, if I can get you $1.2 million instead of $1 million, will you pay me 10%? And you make it simple math, or say the house is 800. We're talking about listing at 800. Pete, if I can get you $1 million, will you pay me 10%? And of course he says, absolutely. So it's not about commissions. It's about how much you're going to end up in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's it. I want everybody else to share. I'm going to go out of the room. I'm going to get somebody and I'll put this link in for everybody. Thanks, everyone.
All right, there you go. I love it. That was good. Dave Lawson coming in hot. We're going to go from Dave Lawson from the snow-covered hills of or mountains of Park City, which I don't know if they have snow there anymore, but I'm making that up. We're going to go to my favorite Southern Belle, Betty Gales. There she is. Look at, she's in her May orange. She's ready to go down there in South Carolina.
My beats. Yeah.
I know you're a master of scripts. What's some of your favorite scripts that people can utilize today to up their production this weekend and make more money?
I'll just give you a few tips that have been working for me lately. Because I have so many buyers, we have so little inventory. So I'm targeting the people and what they're looking for. So I'm actually calling, say people are looking in one area, then I call every single person in that area and tell them I have a buyer, and they're very receptive to that. So what I'm looking for is, it's all in the follow-up. So I'm looking who's going to sell, what are they going to say? I'm never selling, so I can get them off the list, and I'm going to build my database with this information. And I do it with expireds too, and I'm different. I do not do it unless I have a real buyer, but I'm going to call them and tell them I have a buyer. And like today I called somebody and they said, we don't want to sell right now, but we will sell in 6 months. So they're on my list. And so to me, everything is in the follow-up. So I'm building my database, building my list, and I'm excited because the area behind me is not a big area, but it's a very high net worth, second home area. So like I'm really making friends and they're beginning to know really who I am from this.
No, I like that. And yeah, I mean, you got to be honest and you got to be transparent if you do have a buyer or you don't. I mean, just tell them up front, because they're getting pounded and they're sick of agents telling them what they want to hear, right? So that's the big thing, is you just really want to direct that the right way, and the fortune's in the follow-up. So if they say, I'm going to sell in 6 months, in 2 months, you should be staying in contact with them every month. But in 2 months, 2 to 3 months is where they're really going to probably put it on the market, and just ask them, just say, hey, Betty, I'm just curious, if I had a great buyer where we could sell it for top money without you even being on the market, is that something you would consider earlier? And if not, why not? And try to find out and just keep asking them questions. But the fortune is definitely in the follow-up. That's great, Betty. I love that, because
And
we're going to
just
see a
to,
lot of expireds coming up.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, I think what's really important is to do the takeaway. I've learned this. I know that 1 million people have called you, or I know that you're getting all of these calls. That has really been really good for me to break the ice on expireds, for sure.
Yeah, you got to get on their side and be on their team, you guys, because they're getting pounded. They probably got 50 calls and they don't know who to believe, and everybody's telling them price is wrong, the price is wrong, the price is wrong. Beat Bob Barker. Be the price is right. Hey, maybe it's not the price. Maybe it's how it was marketed or how it was presented. I don't know. I got to take a look at it, and let's look at it and talk to each other. Oh, did you see it before? Did you ever bring anybody here? Tell the truth. No, I didn't, because I thought it was overpriced, but but maybe we got to take a look at it. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. I want to go from Betty. Thanks, Betty. I'm going to go over to Corinna. We're going to stick with the roses on the call, I call it, because it's Mother's Day on Sunday. So don't forget your mom. Corinna, so what scripts have you been using to really benefit your business?
So there's a couple different things that I've been using actually for years that continue to work even now in this crazy market that we're in, where things are like right, left, up and down on a like minute by minute basis. One of the things that I learned early on in my real estate career was to not negotiate the entire commission at one shot. People they're just so ready for that number and so ready to say no. So after we've walked their house and I've given them a bunch of contractors and fix things, and we've reported for about 45 minutes, we sit down and I just, we finally get to the point where after everything's all done. I never, ever, ever talk dollars until we've even looked at what the pricings are for their homes. So we've gone through comps, everything. The very last thing, I flip my CMA over on its back and I go, okay, now I guess you want to know, what is this going to cost you? And I explain, and they know I'm a professional. So always make sure you go in looking like a professional and you present yourself as a professional, because you will get paid like a professional if you carry yourself appropriately. Even if it's your first day on the job, put your shoulders back, you're more of an expert than they are, because you've been through real estate school and they have not, most likely. So I put a line down and I put an L, I put the line down the center, and I put an S. And I explained to them that I do a lot of work for them as a listing agent. And we've already gone through all this stuff. I really loved how Dave laid it out, but we go through all this stuff kind of verbally of everything that's going to be done for them and the advertisings and where and et cetera, right? And I explained to them that my professional fees typically start at 4%. And I write 4% down. And then I tell them, I draw a line and I say, now we have to pay the buyer's agent. Some people have gotten away with giving them 2 or 2.5%. When I sell my house, I don't pay less than 4% to a buyer's agent. And I tell them that. And I go, I'm a consumer at that point, and I want the buyer's agent to sell my house. So if there's 3 or 4 properties in this area for sale, and they're paying the buyer's agents 2.5%, and you happen to be paying 3 or 3.5% to them, or 4%, who do you think is going to sell your house first and for top dollar? And they instantly go, well, obviously the bidder, the commission. So then they go, but I don't want to pay 8% on a listing. And I tell them, I appreciate that. And that's where we can come down. I'll say, okay, well, then let's give up a little bit here and a little bit there, but then we're not going to do X, Y, Z, just like David talks about. And by doing that, I get a lot of 7% listings from luxury on down on a regular basis.
I like
And
that.
it really works when you break it down. And now they're not trying to swallow the whole big percent at one shot. But now they see you as one entity and the buyer's agent as the other. And they always say, well, what happens if you sell it yourself, Karina? I go, I have to work twice as hard because now I've got to make sure that I perform for the buyers to get them to close on time for you. I never have to give up commission. So it really works, whether you want to start at 7% or 6%. But if you start with your professional fee first as a separate entity, another great thing I've done is if they're like, well, I only want to pay 2%, 2.5%. Okay, great. I won't even talk to them if they want 2%. So 2.5%. Then I pull out my calculator on my phone and I say, okay, well, if we're going to list your property at 800,000, this is what you pay at 2.5%. And this is what you would pay at 3%. And it's usually just a matter of a few $1,000s. I go, would you like top dollar for your house from the buyer's agent to help push their negotiations or not negotiate you down? And that works too. So definitely if they're stuck between 1% or 0.5%, pull your calculator out and show them how little dollars that is. It works at the luxury level on down.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I've done that before too, where I've just said, you know, guys, I'm just like you. I'd be asking these same questions. These are great questions. I'm so excited you asked me about this. You know, the difference between 2.5% and 3%, which may be a huge difference with what we get on the end result, right? So the difference is only 4,000. Would you spend 4,000 to make an extra 10 or 20? Because I would. I mean, would you? And they say, yeah, I would. So that's why we should offer 3% on that side, because
That's right.
it's really only 4,000 and you get to write that off anyways. So it doesn't even cost you 4,000. In the state of California, it costs you $2,000, right? That's all it costs you. But $2,000 is really minimal in the big picture if you can net 20, right? And the real important thing here, if I hear you correctly, is that you guys want to maximize the money out of your house, correct?
That's right.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's some great points to really sit down with them, because we all expect everybody to understand it and they don't. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand who pays the buyer's agent, who pays the listing agent, how does that work? How is it split? What other fees are there? Who pays escrow? They don't know who pays the appraiser. You got to walk them through it because they don't do this every day. Some people are doing, you know, this is the first time they've done it in 25 years. They don't
And some
know.
people don't even know we're straight commission. So I like to explain to them that we only get paid at closing. So we have a financial interest in making sure they get top dollar because that's how we get paid.
Yeah, I always say, listen, I don't get a nickel until all the money's in your bank account.
Mhm.
That's it. I don't get paid a nickel. So are you really taking risks? I'm taking the risk. I'm doing all the marketing, all the advertising, everything else. I have a staff. You know, I walk them through that and just show
That's
all the advantages. And if they don't see it, if they say, no, the most I'll pay total is 4%, then it's a judgment call. Then I say, you know, I'm probably not the right value for you then,
Mhm.
you know, because you get what you pay for.
Or
You
you're,
know,
or you're like Brian, or no, is it, or David say like, look, how about you give me your car then? I'll give you
Right.
my one. Like,
yeah, I had a woman say that to me. She goes, I don't make rash decisions. So I took out my car key and I put my Porsche car key in front of her and I said, I'll give you that Porsche, $500. She said, why would you do that? I said, would you buy it? Yes or no? She goes, yeah, I'd buy it. I said, well, you just told me you don't make rash decisions. That was pretty quick, right? I think you just got to turn it and say, look, I get it. I'm just like you. I'd be asking these. I'm so like happy that you're asking me all these questions because I would be asking the same thing. Let's go. That was awesome, Corinna. I really appreciate that. Let's go over to Cam right now, and then we're going to come back to Lurchy. Cam, look at him. He's tan as ever, you guys. Going into his tanning season, his legs all good. Look, he's fishing, all types of stuff. Cam, what scripts have you been using lately? And I want somebody, Lurch, I'm going to tee this up for you. Do you have an open house script that you've been using to capture high-end buyers or buyers? Cam, I want you to just give some scripts that you've been using lately to get more productivity and to get people ready to buy or get people ready to sell. What are you using?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like everything that we've been going over today has been really excellent. Karina and Betty, excellent stuff. Absolutely amazing. Really good. I kind of wanted to go over a couple things outside of the scope because we've been talking a lot about the commission or trying to, keep commissions or keep your commissions higher. I'm going to go over a little bit more phone scripts because I think that's something that a lot of people want to talk about, want to hear about. And one of the things that we've been doing a lot is sphere of influence, just listed, just sold, calling around neighborhoods, right? That's something we're doing all the time now, and it's working really well. Before we get into that though, so every prospecting call has three parts, right? We have an introduction, when you have your intro, what you say, you have your conversation, and then you have your close or the end of the call. So what I always tell people is that throughout all three of those phases, you need to have closes and you need to have things that you are going to say or that you have planned to say that lead down a path that you can come out and see their home. That's all scripts are, you guys. They're not something that you have to, be the word for word for word. No, it's just giving you an idea. It's giving you a path to lead you down so that at the end of this conversation or at the end of these different things, you can have different closes set up so that you have the opportunity to ask them to come see their home, right? So first off, I know we were talking about earlier about the any other questions. That isn't, no one actually uses that. No one doesn't work, but it's the idea that you're not going to just negotiate off and you're not just going to hand it over. Obviously probably some of us have tried saying, no any other questions. But anyways, for the circle prospecting, sphere of influence prospecting, you ring them up, you ring. Hey, this is Cameron Smith. I'm a leading real estate agent here in the area. If it's just the pending, just sold, whatever it is. The reason I'm calling you is because we just put the home down the road pending. And I was actually calling some of the other neighbors and they said, you might be interested in selling. If we were to bring you an offer in the next 7 days, would that cause you a problem? And they'll be like, And you say, well, I just talked to your neighbor and they said, you'd possibly, would it be a problem if you, and if they're really interested and you really did have a neighbor tell you, they would be, no, we're seriously thinking about selling. Now, 99% of the time they go, well, that'd be a little fast, but we are considering it. And then next question, we've heard this one multiple times a day. Oh, really? Great. That's awesome. So you'd consider it. Where would you guys be moving next? Or where's the plan to? And they'll say, Idaho, we love potatoes. What do you guys do? You always follow up. Idaho, potatoes. I love potato too. I was just in Idaho. I went by the potato museum. I'll show you the photos when I come by, then when we stop by. That's great. How soon did you want to be up in Idaho, or what's taking you to Idaho? And then you got to be quiet, you guys. That's important. Remember, you ask questions and you be quiet. And even if they don't reply, you just let them sit there until they do reply. And they'll say, my daughter, son, kids, I love four-wheeling, I love potatoes, whatever it may be. Great. I love those too. That's so cool. Now, what if you couldn't move up there and you never did move up there, would that be life-changing to you? And they'll say yes, no, maybe. Now, remember, you guys, we're talking to people that we believe are interested in selling, expired, four-step owners, circle prospecting. If you talk to a neighbor and you have someone, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had a new listing and we were doing the open house and we were doing door knocking, giving out our flyers for open house. And we had someone that said, oh, I already purchased a new home out in a community called Babcock. We're going to be listing in a few weeks. Well, that's the kind of call that you reach out to them just like that with this. Hey, if we could bring you an offer, would that cause you a problem? Couple more questions as you get throughout the process is, what are you looking for your agent to do to help you sell your home if you did, decide to sell your home? What are you looking for them to do? Those are going to give you things that you can put into your quiver for that when you do go out and you meet with them, that you can fire off. I know everyone here has said, don't talk about commissions over the phone. I 100% agree with that. You have to deflect that one. The easiest way to deflect on the phone, you guys, and you can do this multiple times in a conversation, is, oh, commissions. Yep. So commissions are really important to you, is what I'm hearing? Yep, great. Okay, wonderful. That'll be the very first thing we talk about when I show up today, if you've already scheduled it. And again, I love the soft pros Brian used earlier. Well, if my schedule fills up quickly, when would be a good time that I could come out? Let me know and I'll fill it in right now. Absolutely love that one. But throughout the conversation, you guys remember that every time that you ask a question, you are asking a question expecting the answer that you're expecting, right? You're not asking open-ended questions. You're asking things like, where are you going? How soon did you need to be there? What are you expecting me to do? If they are an expired or for sale by owner, how was the experience so far? What's gone on that you liked? What did you not like? These are great questions on figuring out what you can do and what you can do differently to build motivation. Continually going back to that first question, you guys, is going to be what you're doing throughout the conversation. They tell you the motivation. They're moving to Idaho because of X. Great. So if we can get you there, how soon can we get you there? That's going to be if they're A+, B+ client, whatever it may be. Awesome. When can I come out and show you how I can do that? I might have clients I'm working with already that are interested in your home that don't even know you're thinking about selling it. That's another great close. Now, you guys were talking about just here a minute ago about saying you don't have buyers. Everyone here at EXP, I know a few of us on the call are not here at EXP, but I believe most of us are. We have express offers, you guys. I did this just the other day. I had a client call me out of the blue. And of course, I said, one of my buyers said we had a buyer, and that buyer already went off and bought something else. But I threw them into express offers. Sure as shoot, I got an offer. It wasn't 100% a list value, but it allowed me to be honest with them and say, hey, yeah, I can get us an offer. It's an all cash offer, close quickly, saves us that hassle. I believe that's a lot of the sell without listing strategy that Dennis was talking about earlier. And then obviously, then you bring them in, you show them our beautiful CMAs that show a much higher price. You show them all the stuff we do. And it just is one of those things to get you in the door. You have to remember that our phone conversations, all you're trying to do is get your foot in the door. Once you have your foot in the door, you're ahead of 99% of the people. I'll be honest, I don't have the challenge that it sounds like a lot of folks have where people are trying to beat up on you on price. Once they see our marketing, they see the numbers of people that are viewing our listings compared to everyone else. It's kind of like they're automatically, but we got to get in front of them. We got to get, we got to get that to them. Once we have it to them, we have a huge advantage. Couple quick things I want to go over. I know we had a couple more people, so I don't want to take up all the time. My two favorite deflections or objection handlers for things like commission or any kind of challenging direct comparison for something else an agent's going to do. Maybe you don't want to do open houses or you don't want to do something else. Is the objection handler, have you ever, and then my favorite one's always the car repair. Say we're going for commissions and a cheaper repair. Have you ever had the experience where your car broke down and you had to take it to the dealer, but maybe you couldn't afford it, or maybe you just didn't want to spend the ridiculous amount that the dealer was going to get, so you took it to Joe Schmo, he fixed it, and then 3 days later or a week later it broke again, or you had problems with it again, and they all go, yeah. Well, I'm not going to do with the dealer. I don't charge 8% like the dealer. But I can promise you, we are a full service brokerage that offers everything. And you already know the marketing that we do. And you're not going to have this broken down. You're not going to go through the same process you just went through. You're not going to have all those headaches that you've been experiencing when you list with us. Doesn't that sound great? Isn't that what you're looking for? Yes, great. Sign the contract. I always end up with sign the contract, you guys. If you're in person, you're in person, you're doing these objection handlers, it doesn't hurt to say sign the contract 5 or 6 times. And I've had it multiple times where I just handle an objection like that, end it with sign the contract, and they go, oh, okay. And they just pick up a pen and sign it, you guys. They will do what you tell them to do. You are the expert. And that's something that you have to remind yourself throughout the conversation, is that you really are the expert. And then I like the other one. Would that be okay? That's another great, a soft close is, I'd love to do this for you. We're going to have everything that we're doing. Would that be okay to, if we get that handled and start for you? Yeah. Okay, great. Wonderful. You got to remember, you guys, every single person you talk to, every conversation is different. Sometimes you're going to get on the phone with people like myself. I have a buyer right now. His name's Wyatt. He's just like me. We're wired to the hell, right? And you got to go with them. You got to be wired with them. If you're talking to someone maybe more like Dave, I absolutely love your tonality and your speed, but you got to slow down and you got to be, conversating with them like they do. Also, repeat, rinse. When they say something, acknowledge it, repeat what they say. It is a great relationship builder and it's a great rapport builder. So those are important things throughout the script. For buyers, I guess real quick, I'll go through that. I think we only have one more. My number one question for all my buyers is, tell me your goals, tell me your dreams. Tell me what's bringing you down here. Obviously, I'm here in Southwest Florida. People dream about the sun. They dream about the beaches. They dream about something. And if you ask them what that is, they'll go off on it. They're going to tell you how their kids love the beach or their kids love whatever their situation might be. Great. Have you ever been here, or how soon did you plan on coming down? They say, no, we've never been here. Yes, we've been here, whatever it may be. Your next question is always, how soon are you guys coming back down so we can show you properties? Very few people are now buying over the internet again. We sold a lot of homes through COVID over the internet, but now more people are coming back down, seeing things in properties. So when are you guys getting back down here? How soon will you be here? That way I can start showing you properties. And then how soon did you need to purchase? Of course, that's a simple one. What price are you comfortable with? Not what is your max price? What price are you comfortable with? Now, when you do that, you might set your search a little bit higher than that number, you guys, right? They might be looking for a little bit more, depending on what number they say. If they say, our number, what we're comfortable with is signing or, spending what we're approved for, great. That way you're not going to get higher. If they're saying, well, we'd be comfortable at 500, but we could go up to 600, then And then obviously the last one, it's the most important one for buyers, and it's a way to build rapport, is will you be purchasing cash or will you be purchasing with financing? And you always lead it with cash. That's so important because you're expecting them, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be purchasing with cash. I do this importantly with all my buyers, especially younger people that you know they're going to be financing, but you lead with that and it gives them the confidence that you respect them. You know that they're really buyers and they're serious. And then they could be purchasing with cash. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Sorry, I went on too long.
Listen, this was fire today. I'm telling you, this stuff is unbelievable. This is going to help everybody's production. That's why they call him Cam Sunscreen Smith down there in Southwest Florida, right? And we're going to go to Lurch and Randy. Look at Randy's on the clock. Literally, his wife's about to have a baby. He's out at the beach underneath a palm tree hiding out so he can get some sleep. But let's go to Randy and Lurch. I'm going to ask you guys, because we have only around 5 minutes left. What are some of the best scripts you guys have been using lately? Let's go to Lurch first, and then Randy can chime in. And how has that been helping your production?
One of the best scripts I learned from a coach that Brian and I both had, Tommy Schaff, was when they asked about commissions. And again, remember, all commissions are negotiable. This is not a RESPA thing. I just wanted to throw that out, everybody. We're not discussing it or fixing it. We're using them as examples. It's now on tape. We're all good. All right. Now, here's the deal. I always say I'm never the highest. I'm never the lowest, but I don't know until I meet with you. And then I stop talking. When does your schedule fit that I can walk your property or meet with you? That's always, I'm never the highest, I'm never the lowest, but I can't make a decision until I meet with you. The next one I always do, I say, have you talked to other agents? Are you talking to other agents? And they're always going to say yes or no. I'll say, great, who? Well, I really don't want to tell you. Great, have you met with some? Yes. Why haven't you hired them? And I stop talking, because then they're going to throw up on me of what they didn't like. Then I know what not to say and what to say. And the last part, and I'm going to jump off because I'm giving Randy his time here real quick. The number one way that we're looking for listings. I have a question. If I send you a listing, how many people here are going to pay me a referral? If I send you a listing in your area, you're going to pay me a referral? Good. Call commercial brokers. They hate residential. It's emotional. We're calling brokers and commercial brokers we're working with and saying to them, hey, by the way, who of your family, friends, sphere of influence can we work together so I can get you referrals and I can also give them top service? So that's who we're prospecting for listings, commercial brokers. Done. Rando.
That's awesome. I love it. Go, Randy.
So I'll give you a quick one. For a lot of agents that are starting out, I'm sure we have a lot of newer agents too on here listening. Every one of you can do this. This requires literally no experience at all, for especially working with buyers, which I believe usually most newer agents are going to start there, right? That's the easiest path to resistance. The least amount of resistance to get into the business. Everyone on this call will tell you that, right? So what I would recommend is build relationships with 2 to maybe 4 solid investor flippers in your area. And they're not hard to find. All you have to do is ask your title company, hey, give me a list of the last, the cash buyers that bought properties in this area in the last year. And you're going to see a name that will be repeated over and over again. Get in touch with that investor, right? They're not hard. They're not hiding under the rock. You can Google them and they'll probably have an investment website if they're a professional flipper, like our company. If you look up cthomesllc.com, we have a website. We have our properties even listed there. We don't give the full address, but we do have properties listed there, right? That we're actually renovating. So a lot of the rehabbers will actually even have everything updated on their website. Most won't, because they're busy renovating homes. So don't assume just because there's no properties on the website that they're not renovating homes. And why would you want to do all this? Well, because if you build that relationship, you have access to technically off-market inventory. And the best thing I can tell you, from a buyer perspective, from an agent working with a buyer, agents that are looking for properties, most of them, buyers are looking for properties. They start on Zillow, they start on these online websites, then they start going to open houses. They're not really committed to any agent, right? Most of the people that I speak to, like on the beginning of their search, they're just kind of like wandering around, like in this abyss, right? And I need to give them a hook. Why would they want to work with me and commit to me going forward instead of keep going into this abyss? I said, look, here's something that's unique about us. We have relationships with investors. And let me tell you how that's going to help you potentially is they actually are working on properties right now. They're rehabbing them as we speak. No one knows about those properties. No other agent out there knows about those properties unless they actually know that investor, and most don't. I do. I've built my relationships over the years with investors, so I actually could reach out to them to see if your wish list matches something they're already working on. And if it does, there is a potential, I can't guarantee you this, but there's a potential that we can bring in an offer before that property goes to the market. Would that interest you? Like, no one will say no. Like, why would anyone regardless of what the market is doing, if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, everyone wants to see things that others can't, period, right? So that script will work in any market, especially this market, if it's a seller's market in your area. And I know it's not a seller's market everywhere, like Las Vegas, it's not. But either way, this will work, and you don't need any experience to do this, and you get them to hook to start working with you and not anybody else. Because I'll say, look, most agents, they're going to set you up on MLS search filters, and you're going to just get emails sent to you, and that's all they look at is all the things that I see. But I'm going to also physically call my other investor relationships and ask them, like, hey, by the way, I have this buyer. Is there anything you have that can match? And those properties, those agents don't know about.
Yeah, that's great, Randy. And we're at time. You guys keep going on and on about this, and maybe we do part 2 next week or something. I know we have a schedule, but here's the deal. The other thing that I've heard Randy say before too, and if you're at an open house or you're talking to people or you meet them on the street or you meet them at an event, just say, what can I do to earn your business? How can I separate myself from everybody else to earn your business? By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I have the in to get all the opportunities that the investors and flippers buy. Is that something you'd be interested in? If they tell you they want a fixer, say, I'm the one who can get all those. They never hit the market, but I can get you in there before anybody else if you want that type of opportunity. Would that be beneficial to you and your family? Would you like to take advantage of that? Bang, bang, bang. Is that what you had in mind? That's all we got to do, right?
Or a fully renovated that's already fixed up again, and it doesn't hit the market. And what if you even get to customize some of those pieces? And we've done that before.
Yeah,
anyway,
look at that's why they call him Randy Big Daddy Zimnich. Listen, he's got number 2 on the way right now. He's
let's
rocking.
go. All right, we got to run. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Be productive. Invite people to this every week.